Well, here we are. Robin with Oxy-Dry. Lock that in, please. Anyway, I'm at the second building that I'm doing today. First building went really well. This one's a little bit smaller, so maybe a little less time over here. Although, at least from this floor, there's a few more stains by the elevator, which I'll be addressing, obviously. Yeah. But the job is going well. Always comes up pretty nice. And this is another one of those situations, by the way, where you might read or hear people say, read in comments or hear people say that when you clean this way, you need to come every few times and steam clean it to flush the carpet. And here's a carpet that I've been cleaning for years. I don't think it's been quite 10 years, probably around 8 years, 7 or 8 years maybe. And there's no sign of a soil buildup on this carpet, because it doesn't happen when you use the SETT method. And they do have a really good vacuuming regime. How do you say that? Anyway, they got a good caretakers that come in here, and they really do a good job in this building with the vacuum. So that helps. Of course, when I clean, I am drawing out, transferring soil out of the carpet fibers and into the absorbent pad. So that's where the visible, oily, sticky soils primarily are going. But I'm also using an encapsulating cleaning product, so that will encapsulate and hold soil in suspension after the fact, and it will continue to come out with subsequent vacuuming. So that's all part of the process. Yeah. So this won't. Yeah, this one takes a little less time. Not as big a hallway as the other building I was doing there. But anyway, so I just wanted to mention something. I've been thinking about it. So I'm going to give a little bit of advice to those guys out there that are doing this. Most of us are just owner-operators. Some have employees, but most of us operate on our own, more or less. And there is a very easy trap to fall into as an owner-operator. So I've got to caution you about it. And that is not committing yourself to your business on a consistent level. And what I mean by that is a lot of guys who are self-employed, because really, basically, you're just self-employed. That's the better way to describe it. If you don't have employees, you're just basically, self-employed. So, but what happens is, it's easy when you're self-employed that if you don't have any work scheduled, to do nothing that is going to be of benefit to your business, and maybe you've got somebody that, calls you up and says, hey, Joe, I am moving tomorrow. Are you working tomorrow? And Joe says, well, actually, I don't have any work booked, but yeah, I'll come and help you move. Yeah, I'm free. And then, okay, so there's that day. And I'm not saying you shouldn't be helping people out, but, or maybe you've got, you're involved in something, say, at church. And there's things going on at church. And, well, I'm self-employed, so I'll just take this time off. I'll take 2 or 3 days off and help out with this thing here or that thing. And, those are all good things, but unless you are in a financial position to really do these things, you are how do I say this? It's not really a good idea to be consistently doing that unless you are in a financial position where you can. Because if you're the one that's bringing home the bacon, as it were, then you have to focus on doing that 9 to 5, 5 days a week or more, depending on your situation. There's been times in the past, I think we're in a position where we're doing really well, but it's taken 30 years now to get to this point. And we're in a good position where we are because, it's just, with all the effort and time we've put into our business, my wife and I together, we're doing really quite well. And we have quite a substantial reserve, but it took us years to get to that point. I remember certainly in the first 5 years or more, when we started out, we would get to winter times, for example, and we would have to go into our line of credit to get by. And we'd get through winter, because winter is what, in my area, business diminishes quite dramatically. And of course, our pricing was considerably lower and hadn't been around that long, etc. And then what would happen is we'd get into winter and business was so slow that if we didn't have the line of credit, we would have been in trouble. But then we would end up coming out of winter and into January, February, March. And I remember many times thinking how it was often not until June till we actually paid off, caught up the line of credit. And then from that point on, obviously, it's basically you're pushing to get to winter, and hopefully, our hope was always, can we put enough money into the bank to make it to winter without having to go into the line of credit? And that, it actually did take a few years before we got to that point. And one of the things that I used to do, by the way, is in the beginning, first, at least 5 years, I would guess, I used to start work at 8 o'clock. My first job was 8 o'clock, so I could add another job to the day, or, do a bigger job. We actually started out in a small town, awful smaller than where I'm at now, Penticton, which is south of Kelowna. So, and it was, a different time and whatever. Back then, when we first started out, we were real cheap, $15 a room. It took a while to build up the business and to bring the pricing up to a better rate and everything, but I would work pretty hard. I would often, I was pushing and pushing. A lot of the times I would, I'd go out, I'd work quite often, 6 days a week, because I had to, because I was very, very aware of the financial responsibility that I had. My wife at that point really didn't have much to do with the business other than she did the books. I actually did all the scheduling and actually answering the phone and everything. So it was a little bit different model than what we're doing now. She only started answering the phone in 12, I guess. We started well, I started the business in 95, actually. But my point is, I was trying to get at is, it's very easy to get yourself distracted by all kinds of things. I'm not saying they're not good things, they are, but if you're self-employed, you need to be saying to yourself, I have to work my business from 9 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock at night until I can get to the point where I've got 3 months wages in the bank and 3 months business expenses as well. Because you don't know whether or not you're going to have a good month next month. You don't know that. And you need to be a wise steward of your time. Your time is so valuable and it's critical as a self-employed owner-operator that you don't waste those hours in the day. I mean, even if, family calls you up and, hey Dad, can you come over and do such and such and whatever, and often families can be, not that they're meaning to be, but they can, often put demands on your time that really takes you away from what is your first responsibility. Now, unless you're in a position where you can do that, I'm just talking about, an average guy, we may not have the wherewithal to be able to live our lives that way, as it were. So that's that's a heads up for you guys. That's a warning. Beware of the fact that your time is valuable. And unless your business is doing really well and you've got lots of money in the bank, you really can't afford to just drop things and go and help people out and do all these different things and have your business suffer. And there's many, are you up to speed with your marketing and your website and what can you do today to go out there and try to generate more work? Even something as simple as going and doing flyers. In the beginning, when I started out, I did a lot of flyers. If I didn't have any work, I'd go for a walk. No work, then you walk. And I'd go and deliver flyers. Literally, I'd flyers made up and I'd go and walk around and drop them off at the doors. And I knew that I had a nice flyer, and I knew that if I delivered 100 flyers, I knew that I could almost certainly generate at least one job within the next day or two. It was just simply a very consistent, and over time, 100 flyers would actually generate more than that. But initially, there'd usually be at least one job for 100 flyers. But these are the things that you can do. Or, maybe I guess you can go and rattle some doors at some businesses and things like that. But and are you neglecting the way your website is laid out? And have you got good before and after pictures? And don't put pictures up that aren't perfect, by the way. People will notice. You got to be serious about what you're doing. Unless you've got deep pockets. Probably most of us don't. So there's my pep talk for the day. It's easy. It's so easy to get distracted and go in many different directions. I think one of the things that I learned over the years, and it's not been an easy lesson, as I've learned to focus on what works, on what generates the income, It's easy to get distracted by things like, ooh, pretty. Things that you think are going to generate work sometimes don't. You need to be very careful, very wise, very thoughtful about what you're doing. And but it's important that we be focused on, you know, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you're self-employed, you need to treat your business as a full-time job. You work for your business. You know, if you had a normal job, you know, somewhere, you couldn't just take time off at a time you felt like. You can't do that. You've got to be there from 9 to 5, right? So why are you doing that? Why are you taking time off left, right, and center? I mean, you know, in the end, you're the one that suffers. You know, I thought of that parable of the ant and the grasshopper, right? You know the story. There's the ant diligently working all day long, gathering the food, and the grasshopper is there fiddling around, playing his music or whatever. And he mocks the grasshopper. Oh, what are you doing? Slow down, take your time. And the next thing you know, winter comes, and there's the grasshopper, starving. And the ant, he's got everything he needs, because the ant was wise. And we all have to do that. Okay, let's go over here. Now, by the way, I have Procyon Extreme in there. Yeah, let's just go and feel this. Oh yeah, it's a little bit damp. That's what I want. That's all I want. I find it actually kind of helps, like a pre-spray. Sort of helps things release a little easier, a little faster. I'm using the NCAP Hero on this job, which is a product sold by Causeway Supply in Ontario. And I'm cleaning with a AstroTurf pad. Oh, it's raining out. Oh, what do you know? So that'll cool things down. Although it wasn't all that hot today. That's looking pretty good. right, we'll head back this way. Yeah, this is actually cleaning very nicely. This elevator lobby was, of course, the most soiled area, but yeah, looking good. Stains are all gone. Okay, I'm gonna just go over that traffic lane one more time. Although it's pretty much gone, one more go won't hurt. And I will take a look at the pad. Oh yeah, looking really good here. Definitely liking it. All right, let's have a look. See what that pad looks like. It's a little bit warm, just a little bit, but that's pretty dirty. Okay, pulling the soil up and out. Alrighty. A couple of years back, I was here and there was a huge rainstorm going on out here. I took a little video back, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I guess. Hey, anyway. Yeah. That's our, this is up near the University of Okanagan. Nice area up here. Okay, I'll let you go. Thanks for watching and have a good day.